All right, guys. This portion of the workout is going to focus on thrusters, quadruped thrusters, and cornering, okay? So I'm going to explain to you what cornering is. We're going to mix in some thrusters with the workout. We're going to get the shoulders, the hips, and the spine nice and loose. So in the GOTA system, we want to have a drop in and a release position, okay? For the shoulders, if I tuck my left elbow in, that's my drop in side. This is going to be my release. My right elbow is my release side. So my right elbow flies away, my left elbow tucks in. And then we've got right elbow in and left elbow release. And depending on the sports that you played as a child, for me, I played baseball. So most of my movement was centered into right to left throwing patterns and swinging patterns. Now, one of the things we try to do with most of our clients, all of our clients, is to develop symmetry in the right throwing and the left throwing patterns. And to do that, we're going to achieve the drop-in arm and the release arm. We're going to really drive over to this left side. And then we're going to tuck in the right elbow and drive over to this right side. Trying to really release this left elbow, but not letting the hand roll in to the pointer. Trying to keep the palm somewhat flat and engaged out on the outside portion of the hand, just like we do down in the feet on that green dot pressure. We want to keep the fingers nice and wide. We just want to rotate into the right elbow, let the left elbow release, and then left elbow in and get that right elbow to release. And you're going to feel your shoulder blades just trying to wiggle a little further. You can add some hip movement, some hip cornering into it, or some hip rotation, and then over to the right side. Drop the right elbow in, let the left elbow release. Getting back into some of the quadruped thrusters, let's get the toes in, right underneath us. Let's pick the head up, loosen the neck up a little bit, make some nice big neck circles. Turn to the right, turn to the left, head up nice and high. Look left, look right. Gently bouncing back through the pads of the feet. Raising the heels up nice and wide or nice and high and pulling the knees open nice and wide. We can again drop over to the left side, left knee up, left elbow in tight, or over to the right side, right knee up, right elbow in tight, left elbow releases, left heel gently rolls out. Left elbow in, right elbow releases. Roll this right heel out here, get this right knee in. Right elbow in, right knee up. Left foot releases. Try to pick the head up and arch through the spine. Left knee up. Right ankle rolls out. You see how that ankle rolls out? Pull this knee in. So now we have our left drop in and our right release. Focus on the elbows rotating. And then focus on the elbows rotating over to the opposite way. The right elbow in, the left elbow away. Inhale back, exhale, press it forward. Work into some thrusters. We can step wider, crouch back, press it forward. Keep the head up, chest up. In the other series, we worked on piking through the hips. We're not going to pike this round. We're going to focus mainly on inhale back, exhale forward. If at any point the legs fatigue, drop down onto your knees and focus back on your shoulder and your hip cornering or rotation, right? Right elbow in, left elbow releases, left elbow in, right elbow releases. Rock into that position right through here. Now we're gonna spend 10 minutes down on the ground here. We got about 6.5 to go. And we're gonna mix in the thrusters. We're gonna mix in the cornering. We're gonna also come up over to the left elbow, over to the right elbow, over to the right, over to the left, over to the right, over to the left, over to the right, over to the left. Right elbow in, left elbow releases. Really twist that arm. Left elbow in, right elbow releases. Pick the head, the chest up. Reach the head away from the released arm. Reach the head away from the released arm. Back in, knees up. Bust out some straight thrusters. Inhale back, exhale forward. Work as you get more comfortable here, and this is more of an advanced workout, right? So take it slow. Build your thrusters first, and then we can work on to a single arm released, right arm released, left arm packed, a single arm thruster here. This is my release leg. This is my drop-in leg. I'm going to build the strength up on the pad of the foot as high as I can. I'm going to get the left elbow back. I'm going to rotate that right shoulder right through, but keep it in my back chain, in my lat. And then we can switch sides over to the right drop-in, right shoulder pack, left foot, left elbow release right here. Head up, chest up. And now we are really working on the drop-in, the release position. Get the shoulder to set, pull the shoulder back, get this right heel out back here, over to the left side, and over to the right side right here. Deep breaths in, deep breath out. If you can sit fully back into knee flexion, sit back into knee flexion. Plant it, rotate it, pull through, pick the head up nice and high, and we're just gonna rock back. Bust out some thrusters. Inhale back, exhale, pull through. Knees open to knees closed. Take a break as you need to. Walk the hands out a little bit. Drop into the right side. Drop into the left side. Drop into the left side. Drop into the right side. Right elbow down low, left elbow down low, right elbow releases. Get that head over the drop-in side right here, over to right here. Over to right here, over to right here. Walk the hands back. Come back up onto the toes. Try to keep the feet balanced, right? We can also play around with the foot position, so we can go a little wider. But we want to keep those arches up nice and high. A little bit easier to get up high into it and rock forward to backward than it is to drop down low into it. Keeping the heels up nice and engaged high, gently pulling those knees open, and again focusing on one side dropping in, one side releasing. The right side is my drop-in side over here. I'm going to release this left heel out away from us, and then back over on the opposite side. Get the shoulder down and back into the lat. You'll feel a nice big delt right here. Come out of it, wide fingers. Inhale back, exhale forward. Knees down when you need to. When you need to take a little break, rest back into your drop in and release. Drop in and release. Gently bouncing forward to backward. Toes and legs, knees, everything's gonna get a nice big workout here. You're gonna feel a lot of pressure up in your front chain, up in your hips here, as you work on a big time hip pack. Right through there. From a side view, and if we want to tie in the Bosu is just going to make this a little bit more difficult. And we did some thrusters in one of the other workouts, but here we can work on the hip cornering, really pulling that left knee up, left heel up. Right foot releases out away from the body. Drive that left elbow close down to the left knee, and then over to the right side. Right elbow down the right knee. Back to center. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward. Toes in, knees in, heels out. This is your double release. Pack your hips. Extend through the low back. So butt up into the sky. Drop in position is feet straight, knees open. Release position is toes in, heels out. We want to build the strength in the front of the legs, in the quads, in the back chain. We want to build the stamina through these movements right here. Inhale back, exhale, knees in, head up, chest up. And you can spend time in your double release quadruped right here, getting the heels up and out, working into a gentle drop in on the right, gentle drop in on the left. Crawl back, get back into your tucked quadruped, left heel up, left knee open, right knee in and right heel away. And then over to this right side, drop in, left heel away. Cut it, cut it, cut it, float the elbows away, cut it, float the elbows away. Get the heel on the back foot to spin out. There we go. All right, wide stance. This 10-minute segment is going to focus on a wide stance. If you need to, you can move your feet narrow, you can move your feet wide. We're going to start off with just a little bit outside the hips, a little bit of a wider column. We're going to work on the underhand eights just to start. The underhand eights is where the head, we want the head to learn how to float horizontally. The eyes are going to stay horizontal with the horizon. We're going to cut the left elbow down and then the right elbow down. We're going to plant the feet, and we're just going to work on developing this nice fluidity through the upper body at first, and just a little weight shift from the left foot to the right foot, left foot to right foot. Nice deep breath in and out, and just start to just feel this fluid movement through the body. As you guys do this, you might be aware, I like to keep my thumbs up on the stick. You can see how my left hand's nice and flat, but my right thumb has a little space here. I'm still working on driving my right back chain on as much as my left side is. My left side is my little bit of my stronger side. So I'm just gonna float right through left elbow down and up, right elbow down and up. Kind of shifting the weight through the feet. Step two is gonna be working on a little release movement with the foot, a little bit of the heel flip, out and away, kind of focusing on this left green dot, pressure here on the right. My left elbow is my drop in, over to my right elbow is my drop in, and we're just gonna float that energy wave right through the body like this. And we want to learn how to spin that foot up and out as my right side moves into my drop-in position. We can hold this dowel rod right here, or this foot right here, and work on a little bit of drop-in release over on my right side, my right drop-in, my left release, underhand eights, and then the same thing over on the left side, left drop-in, right release, left elbow down, right elbow down, left elbow down, right elbow down. Work on the foot pressure up and out through this release foot. You might get a nice little pressure right in this right IT band right here. You may get a little cramp up in the hip if the muscles are weak. Left cut, right cut, the head's gonna shift from the left column over to the right column just like that. We're gonna take a little bit of a wider stance. We're gonna move into a toe in pattern. We're gonna pull the knees open nice and gently. We're gonna lift the head and just start to work through your underhand dowel rod movements right here. Right cut, left cut, right cut, left, right, nice and easy. Adding a little shift through the hips, hinging down a little lower into the movement, feeling that nice little float left and float right. For about 15, 20 reps, or about a minute, 2 minutes. If your thumbs get tired, you can pull your thumbs off the stick. We can bend down into the hinge a little more. Try to think about keeping the head up, arching through the spine. Feel the pressure through the outside of the feet, and especially the lateral calves. Underhand eight. This is our underhand eights. This is one of the most beneficial positions that I've found, one of the most beneficial movements that I've found to really activate the back chain and develop the strength on the back side, right? So Changing over to a right side drop in. We can release this left heel gently. Think about twisting this left heel out. We can work on some underhand movements here over on the right side. Nice deep breath in and out. Think about left elbow and right elbow cut. Pick the head up nice and high. Release that left leg a little bit more. Focus on this right drop in and right swing around right here. Nice and high through that right hand. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Switch it, left drop in, right release. We're gonna drop in on this left elbow and work this nice big underhand movement. Left elbow down, right elbow up. Left elbow down, right elbow up. You might notice your toes want to grip the floor in this position. You might notice that your body shakes a little bit as you release the right foot, drop into the left foot, and start to get your underhand movements. Down left, down right. Slowly sink down into it a little bit. Get that fluid movement. And when you want to, you can take a little bit of a wider step. Restart into your underhand cuts right here. Head up, chest up. Right elbow down, left elbow down. Put the thumbs back up on the stick if you can. Pull the knees open a little bit. Deep breath in, deep breath out. I like to pick a point out on the ground or up at the ceiling to play around with my head chest extension. And for me, my right hip does not release as well as my left hip when I run. So I'm gonna spend time right here, drop in on the right, swing it through, press up, inhale down, exhale up. Over on the left side, left elbow in, and release through that left foot. And I'm just a little stronger and a little smoother on my left leg than I am on my right leg. You may get a cramp down in the lateral calf, down in the lower leg right here, as you work into this release position on this calf right here. Right elbow down, right elbow down, right elbow down. Take a little bit of a wider step. Drop back into your underhand eights. Let your head cut left, cut right. Think head up, chest up. Nice big shoulder pull. Down, lift it up way high back. Let your head float left and right. Take a step in. Get back into a little bit more of a narrow stance. And we're hitting all underhand eights here. Changing from the left side for 5 to 10. Over to the right side for 5 to 10. Back to center. Cut left, cut right. Underhand. Slow it down. Speed it up. Slow it down. Keep the knees open. Make sure that your feet are maintaining the arch. Add a little side bend over to the right side. Right elbow down. Twist the chest over to the right. Raise up the right heel gently. So we focus on the right drop in here. We maintain that outward pressure on that left foot. And then we can transition over to the left drop in and right outward pressure on the right foot. We're training the feet and we're training the skin and the muscle to maintain that green dot pressure on both feet, and we're developing spinal and skeletal fluidity through these different movements here. Transition over to the right drop in, left release. Focusing on that right elbow down and up. And then we're going to transition over to left drop in and right release. Nice deep breath in, deep breath out. back to center, head cut, drop down lower into it as your hips allow you. Remember, this is advanced workout. So if you're having a tough time with this movement, or even just sitting down into it, go back to the beginner dowel rod workouts, start to master your squat, your hip hinge, before you tie in the underhand eights. I like to periodically check that my feet are symmetrical, my knees are gently externally rotated, developing a lot of strength and stamina in the lower back and the hips as I move through my head cut at various positions. Stand up tall, lean back with it gently. Left underhand, right underhand. This is my sticky spot right through here. So I'm gonna kind of grind out this right, drop in, release. Whereas my left side is nice and smooth through this whole movement. So we're working on the shoulder engine, the spine, and the hip engines as we transfer from the left side to the right side. Play around with the depth, squat into it a little bit more, or hinge into it. For about 10 minutes here. Stand up nice and tall. Lean back, press the hips forward with it. Get into your underhand eights. A little bit more of an extended position. Let the head float left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. All right? Reset the stick. Finish up with a little bit of pelvic twisting. Over to the left, over to the right, left, and right. All right, last portion of this exercise is gonna be all lunge work. So we can spend 30 seconds, we can spend a minute, we can spend 2 minutes per leg. When one leg fatigues, switch to the other leg. You can use your slant boards for this. If you don't have slant boards, you can just work on the ground, but you gotta make sure you keep the foot in the correct position. Foot's most important. We wanna align the feet straight on the boards. If you wanna use a dowel rod for balance, I'm gonna start off with some of the easy movements, and then we're gonna transition into some of the hard movements, okay? So dowel rod is gonna be used for assistance to begin with. We wanna keep the foot straight. We wanna just gently pull the knee open. The back toes are gonna point in, and the back heel is gonna release away. So we wanna work on both feet here. Either A, the right foot, working on the green dot pressure, driving the hips back, or the back foot. We can work on a nice little heel pump up and out onto the green dot of that left foot so that we can really pattern that release position. We're gonna slowly bounce down, and I like these little bounces because it really helps you to build the muscle stamina and strength in the correct places. Keep the foot flat. Most of the pressure, if not all the pressure, as you get better at this, is gonna be through the front of the foot, ultimately up into a nice little heel up, toe down position. Already today, after a couple of the other workouts that we filmed, my legs are a little fried, so I'm gonna drop down into this right drop in position, left release. We're gonna lower the right elbow in. We're gonna raise the right shoulder up and just start to bounce down into this drop in on the right side. Playing around with the depth, sinking a little lower, using the foot to push the hip back. That's what we call the hip pack. We're gonna just gently open this knee up. If you wanna use your left hand on your right knee, you can just softly rest right here. And we're gonna work down into the lunge position. All my weight's on my front portion of my foot. If you can raise this heel up, stand up out of it as you fatigue. Step back on the left foot. First focus, left knee open, chest over to the left. We can then work on this back foot, just gradually releasing some little calf raises so that heel rolls up and out gently. And right onto that big toe, up and out, up and out. We can work on transitioning over to this left foot, dropping down into it, slowly twisting the hips into this left leg, dropping the left elbow down, raising the right shoulder up a little bit, packing the left hip back, driving down into this left drop-in position, letting the foot, as you develop this movement, you're going to feel the foot is going to just gently roll out. So you got this nice high arch on this left foot. Pressing down strongly through the pad of the foot, twisting down into this left leg, being mindful of the back leg that's releasing away from us. Chest forward, pack that left hip back, drive down into this position right here. Sink a little lower, chest a little more forward. We got all our power in our back, or our front left hip, excuse me. Switch sides. Let the heel raise up a little bit. Let the knee roll open. We're working on keeping the inside ankle bone high, the medial malleolus. We're working on keeping pressure out on the outside of the foot. We can transition our weight forward into that forward movement pattern. We're going to drop right down into it, using the stick for very light pressure, right? So if you don't need the dowel rod, which it doesn't hurt if you do, it's good for a little balance to build your stamina and your strength in your leg. But if you don't need the dowel rod, you can either set it down or put it up on your back and just work down gently. Inhale down, exhale up, down, up. Lean that right elbow down, get the head over to the right column, drop down into it, press up out of it. Switch legs after 5 to 10 reps or after 20, 30, 40 seconds. Set your left drop in, hinge forward at your hip, drop down into it, press up out of it. Get that left elbow down, right elbow up, lean the head and pick a point out in front of you. Inhale down, exhale up, down and up. In the top position, drive the left hip back, lean the left elbow down, arch back through the dowel rod. Inhale down, back knee comes in, back heel comes out. Get that head to verticalize right here over this left column. Press up out of it. Switch sides when you need to. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Right elbow down, head goes vertical over that right side. Inhale down, exhale up. Back heels away from the body. Chest is over to the right. Right elbow down nice and strong. Find the outside front portion of the foot. You do want a little big toe drive down here. Switch sides. Let's work into the depth now. The depth of the squat or the lunge, excuse me, with the heel up, with the knee open, adding a nice little fluid bounce through this left foot. Inhale down, exhale up. Transfer over to the right leg. Right heel up. Inhale down, exhale up. Building the strength down in this right leg. About 5 little reps. Switch sides. Down and up. Switch sides. A little bit of weight through the dowel rod. Heel up nice and high. All right. Take a knee on the back leg. This mimics the 3-point sit that we did in one of the earlier advanced workouts, where we work on getting this left heel up, driving the left hip back, feeling this nice big back chain stretch, front chain stretch to ultimately migrate more power into the back of the left leg. Raising this left heel up nice and high and switching over to the right side. Take a knee, raise the heel up, drop the right elbow down into it. Get the head and the chest over that right column a little bit. Rock forward and backwards gently down here into this left foot. Let your vision just go wherever it wants to go. Find something to look at and just focus on the right leg and then back over to the left leg, left heel up. Drop the chest over into that left side. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Left heel up, let the ankle roll out just a little bit. Find your weak spots in your foot. If you find a little weak spot down here, don't be afraid to hone in on it and just work with that ankle stability. Stand up nice and tall. Drop down on the right leg. Right shoulder open, left shoulder up. Take a knee if you want to. Roll around on the foot. Pack the hip back. When I say pack the hip back, push the foot into the board. Let that hip push right back into your chest right here. Really roll that right shoulder down and open. Let that leg work right through here. Come back up. Down rod on back. Drop down into your left ankle. Left elbow down, back heel away. Bounce through it. Add in some stand reps. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Rep it out. Elbow down, hip back on the left. Bounce up and down, slide it forward so you can gain that big push-off power. This is a killer leg workout. Drop into it. Switch sides. Strong foot lands, drop the right elbow down. Bend down into this right leg right here. Let that foot find its balance right out on the outside front portion. Twist into it. Inhale down, exhale up. Knee open to center. Small movements with the knee. Switch sides. We can move into an alternating inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Chest forward, up. Inhale, down, exhale up. Rep it out. Head up. Back heel comes out. Make sure you get that back heel out. You might get some clicking and popping and joint release. That's a good thing. All right? All right, for the last 5 minutes of this workout, we're gonna work on the double release rocking. So we know about the 8-6-4-3 rocker. We started there. We talked about wide fingers. We talked about side to side rolling. We talked about the elbow in tight, the other elbow releases. We straighten both elbows out. We lift the head up through. We tuck over onto the left side, left elbow in, right elbow releases. Straighten both elbows nice and strong. Pick the head up through, okay? Now, when we get into the double release rocking, we're gonna turn the knees in and we're gonna try to keep the toes in. We want those heels to point out like this. And I'm gonna show you from the front and the side in this 10-minute segment. But what we wanna do at home on the carpet or on our gym floor, and your knees will likely hurt for the first couple months as you develop increased circulation down in the knees. But we're gonna just start to rock the left heel way out, trying to grip down through the toes, and then the right heel way out, trying to turn those toes in. And you are absolutely, as you're gonna work on this, you're gonna get some cramping, possibly down in the feet, possibly even down here in the calf, deep in the soleus, maybe up in the gastroc, over to the right side, toes in, over the left side, toes in. And we're gonna twist the knees. And as we twist the knees, we want to get the same side elbow, the right elbow down to the right thigh, and then the left elbow down to the left thigh. We can walk through the knees, turning the toes in. We're going to gradually work on sitting back into our double release. And the double release is what's going to really help the run position to release the foot. And we're gonna get the inside, the hip sockets, where most people will get impingement, hip impingement, or snapping hip syndrome. If you've got a psoas muscle that's really tight, you might feel a click in your hip when you're running or doing core work or leg raises. And this is gonna be an amazing fix to balance the hips out. So we've either got the knees down and the tops of the feet down with the toes pointed in, the heels pointed out. And we're just gonna work on shifting the hips left and right, trying to keep the head up and the spine extended, shifting the hips over to the left knee, shifting the hips over to the right knee, gradually sitting back into the hip pack, driving the hands down into the ground, pushing back into the hips, adding in a left shift and a right shift. And you are gonna be a little uncomfortable up in the front of the hips. So you're gonna have to take your time and just gradually start to rock and rebalance out your pelvis and rebalance out your hips and the muscles all around the femurs, the front of the legs, the back of the legs. We're gonna rock side to side and we're gonna rock front to back. Trying to keep the knees in as tight as we can. The tighter we go in with the knees, the more difficult it's gonna be. And we just wanna work on sitting back into the left knee and gradually sitting back into the right knee, picking the head up nice and high, trying to extend right through the low back. Gradually sitting back into the left leg and then gradually sitting back into the right leg. Sliding forward, adding a shift left and a shift right, a shift left with the pelvis, a shift right with the pelvis, getting the elbow to tuck in, the opposite elbow to release, and same thing over here. Right elbow in, left elbow releases. You can drive down into it a little bit, down into it, down into it, down into it. Sink slowly down into the movement. Right elbow down and in, left elbow releases. Hips are shifted way over to the left side and then over to the right side. Center it up. If the legs get tired, if the hips get tired, work on your shoulder cut left, shoulder cut right. Left elbow in, right elbow releases. Right elbow in, left elbow releases here and here. Sink back into it. Rock back into your hips. Sit back on your left hip. Sit back over onto your right hip. Nice and low, right back into the rocker position here. Ultimately, trying to sit in your double release rocker, which is going to be knees in and heels. We're going to try to just kind of grind those heels out. So for me personally, what I've been working on recoding for the past year and a half is my right leg, which doesn't release on my run as well as my left leg. And we identify that with that slow motion video analysis. And we can ultimately, as you feel comfortable, and this may take you a couple months, might take you 4 months, might take you 5 or 6 months to develop the ability to sit down into your double released position here, gradually applying pressure through the heels and rotating right through over to the left side, over to the right side, applying a little outward pressure so you can get this knee flexibility. And this is a wonderful position for the knees. It'll help save your knees your whole life as you get back into this position. Transition out of it, sit back into the rocker from side view here today. We're gonna get knees in, toes out. We can sit back into it. When I say extend the pelvis, I want you to really feel that butt raise up in the air, feel the head up, the chest up, add your side to side rocker, or get the heels up, twist left, twist right, twist left, twist right. Sit back into it, pull the knees in a little further, and drive the head and the chest up as you arch through that low back. Gently sitting back into it, head up, chest up, shoulders open. And we've got that nice big extension through the spine, and the flexibility that you guys are going to gain through this is going to be amazing, but it will take you time to get down into it.